So thank you so much for joining today's session. So in the last class, what we had a discussion, we had a discussion about the client scripts, how it will be executed. So which will in the form level and the list level. We have seen different levels of client scripts. Today we will discuss about how. So the what you called? I'm just opening the incident form. So here we have an option called dictionary override. So in the service now there are two base tables. Two base tables is nothing but the first base table is the this is the most common interview question. First one is task table, CMDB underscore CA. Task table and CMDB underscore CA. Task table is nothing but which is a parent for incident, problem, change, request item, catalog task, and many other things. Why I'm asking this parent one, this CMDB, and CMDB underscore will be parent for the CMDB classes and all the CMDB related tables. So forget about CMDB. This is a different topic. We can discuss later. Now come to the task. This task are the child tables. I'm just giving incident, problem, change, requested item, like that, and there are few other tables also there. Now, so I'm just opening the incident. So if I open an incident, so incident is a table which has been extended, which has been extended from the task table. Now, so if I open and go to the table incident, so I'm just going to the table. So this is the incident table. You can see here. This has been extended from the task table, which means which has been extended from the task table. That is nothing but the parent table of the incident was task table. Here you can see there are many other fields was added to here. So here if you know what I can say, see these are the fields. If I open a task table on the incident form, we are utilizing around 71 task fields. And if you open the incident one, around 25, which means there are 25 fields which we are using from the task table, sorry, incident form, in the incident form, and remaining 71 which is taken from the task table. So what is the issues will come, that means what are the problems. So for example, if I see, if I open this one, I just want to see the assignment group. Show, see, task is here and assignment group is here and type is something here. So here I don't want to this the type here. For example, if I open this one, how many records will display here? 40. But I just want to, so for example, So around total 47 was there. Active also 47. So but I want to display it was I know how many it was showing. It was showing only very few. Very few is nothing but around 40 records were displaying here. Now what we have to do is right click, go to the configure dictionary. I just want to display the only the 40 fields. So if I open what happened? So if I open one, if I change here the reference specification, so here what happened? The reference specification, the type is null or ITL, it was visible. These are the visible. So the problem is that, for example, I open the problem. I'm just opening the problem table. So don't worry. I will explain what is the problem, what is the incident, everything we can later. So right now I'm just we have a topic. That's the reason I'm just saying this one. See here, if I open a problem, how many records shows visible? So here also 40 it was showing. So here what happened? I just want to display all the records. For example, it was same. If I change here and save, it will be affected here also. But I just want to display only the type is ITL records in the incident and remaining all the sorry type is ITL. For example, if I open a groups, so if I filter, I just want to display these are all on the problem and remaining all in the incident form. So if I open an incident, see the condition is here the I think maybe you are not getting the point. So this assignment to field was taken from the incident form, and also I just want to make a mandatory this assignment fields in the incident form, and this assignment field was mandatory on the incident form, and in the here problem it was not mandatory. So what happened if I make a mandatory here on the dictionary level on the incident it will become a mandatory. See here, this assignment group was mandatory here, and in the problem, let me reopen this one. In the problem also it was mandatory here. See, so my requirement was in the incident form it should be mandatory, and in the problem form it should not mandatory. So for that one, what happened? For example, if I make a mandatory here and mandatory here, so what happens? It will go to the here it was not mandatory the problem, which is an expected behavior. I think still it is loading. Wait, I think still it is loading. The piece was in response. See, here it was not mandatory, and I think it is loaded in the problem also. It was not mandatory. That means this assignment group was taken from the parent table task. If you make any change in the dictionary level, it should be what I can say. It should be changed in the dictionary level. It will apply in the all the fields. But our requirement was it should be mandatory in the incident form, and it has some different things in the something, so that we have to do it now. Still it is loading. Now you can see here. So okay, that's okay, I'm just loading this one here. That's fine. Now I this assignment group should be mandatory in the incident form. So that means we want to override the dictionary entries. If you want to override the dictionary entries, here we have an option called dictionary override. Since it is already available, just go to here, the table, base table is the task table, and on which table you want to make it. And see here, override mandatory. That means if there it is a mandatory is there, so if you it will override there. So I'm just mandatory from here, and I'm just trying to save this form. Let's see what happens. If I open incident form, I'm just going to the mandatory from this dictionary override is the one of the most common asked interview question. The interview may ask, I just want to make a field mandatory from the I just want a one field assignment group. I just want to make that field mandatory in the incident form, and it should not be mandatory in the problem form. How we can achieve this one? So for this one, we have to answer it should be a dictionary override entry, so that incident form will be in the incident form in the dictionary. We can make it as a see. If I open incident, it was mandatory. Why it was mandatory? Since this was we have from the dictionary override, we have made the mandatory here. So like that, we can make a whatever we require do the for the same thing. So here if I open this dictionary override, see here, so there is a lot of things we can give it. See from the dictionary override, we can override the reference qualifier, we can override the dependent, we can override the attributes, we can override the default value, we can override the calculation, we can override the mandatory, override read only, and display. So reference qualifier is nothing but wherever we have seen, right, that called reference qualifier. Right now it was how many groups is was visible, around 47. So here what happened, I'm just going to the group table, groups. So I'm making couple of okay, I'm just making this group as a inactive. Okay, so I just made a four groups is inactive, and I just want to display what are the active groups in that one. So here right click, copy query. So here I'm just going to here, override reference qualifier is nothing but what was the reference qualifier which we have given in that the base dictionary table dictionary entry, it will be override. So here we can give the whatever the copy here, we can give the active equal to true. So now if I open, how many groups are visible? It was only the 43. That means whatever the group was visible will be automatically, what are the dictionary entry we have given, it will automatically come here. So this is the basic thing. Like for example, if I open a problem table, if I open a problem, so if I open a problem, see, in the problem it was showing as a 47 groups, but that means it was displaying all the groups. But in the problem you want to display where the manager is not empty, for example. So I'm just going to the groups, simple. Here we can see manager is empty. That means where active is true, and manager is not empty. So how many records it was visible? It was only four. So for this one, if I open this one, copy query. For the incident, if you want to the problem, just go to here. Again, I think for this we have a problem. Override reference qualifier. See here, manager is not empty, and I'm just going to save this one. If you open, see how many groups are visible right now here? Only the four. Why? Because why? Because so this group will be only the four groups is visible. Why? Because we have done for the same field on the incident form. How many groups were visible? 43. So which means here in the incident form, what we have done a dictionary override, which has to show the what are the groups were active in the system. It will display. And now the next step here. So in the problem, it was showing as a four. What are the filter condition we have given? The where the active is true and manager is not empty. That means that manager is feel like that. We can add a multiple things there, and we can add a multiple things. What you can say, multiple scenarios, or what we can do, the multiple conditions here, and depending upon that we can do it. And override dependent is nothing but if the field is dependent we can override it, but right now mostly we cannot use this open dependent field, and override attribute also we cannot use one. And override default value, so let's the default value is nothing but currently if you have any default value, for example, so I think there is an open dependent field, I think it was default value, let's see how it executes. See, this was opened by default value. So the default value is nothing but, for example, so here what we have given, the default value is sender, that is who is the logged user. And just wait for a few minutes, it's loading. So I think, so if you want to override default value, if I give the empty and if I give save, so I will create an incident here. Let's see what will happen. See, since if I give this one, this opened by is given as an empty. But same thing. So what I'm going to do is here the problem is no. This also no. The opened by this was. So earlier what happened? We have given as a open default value is empty. So if I give as a default value as false, I will try to create a one more incident again. See here it was coming as a automatically the default value. But previous incident, it was not came here. Why? Because that opened by we have not given anything. That's the issue. So always you should. So for example, if I create this one also, so this one. See here, right now the open by it was filled automatically. That's the issue. That means if you want to override the default thing. So here I'm just making here. So right now it was not read only. I'm just making for here override read only feed. So if I save this one, right now it was not read only, right? If I make this one, so it was read only here. So if I reload this form, see here this was it. Like that we can make a field meter read only and reference one attributes we can do it on all the default values. The calculation, if you know, since we don't have any calculation, we cannot do it. Mandatory we have seen it. Override display value. That means what is the value we are displaying. So that means here here it was showing as a display database, right? So if I make the database, see the display value is nothing but wherever the in this field assignment group. So for example, if you go to the assignment group table, here you can see the display is true right here. If I make it as a false, so it right now it was not showing. It was show since there is no one. So what I'm going to do is so this is called display value. Since I'm showing as a name, it will display the name only. So if you give any other name, for example, description, for example. I think still it is loading. I think maybe some issue with the instance. I'm not sure why it was displaying. So override display. Well, I don't think this is not changing. That's okay. We no need to bother about the display since it is out of the box field, so we cannot think. So I'm just opening here. See here, the display, it is not showing. Whatever we have given, that one display field is there. So here, see. Now what I'm going to do is the assignment group sheet we are showing as a display. So what I'm going to do is right now the incident. Here I'm just going over the override display value. Let's see what it is. Right now it was not showing any name, right? So if I give a display override display value, and if I save this one, let's see what happens. So invalid update. So it has been displayed. So why? Because the display value we have not showing. So the best practice. See, I think it's already there. So, but the main thing was we cannot change these display values. Whatever is coming from the dictionary entry, so we always focus on the same thing. Since the group display was changing, so we have to use the same thing for it. Mm, so go to the groups. I think it's not changing. So the main problem is the visibility of this one. It was showing. So mostly we didn't get an opportunity to, or we can check this one as a false. So what I'm going to do is here. So if I open the incident, so if you change this one, it will display the name here. So the main thing was most of the thing we cannot change the display values, only we can change the one. So from the dictionary, what we can do, the most common asked interview question what we discussed, what is the dictionary override and what is the use of it? Then we have to answer it. The dictionary override is nothing but it's an option. Uh, the dictionary override is nothing but if you want to change the parent to child openings, so where we can parent to child configurations if you want to check it. So what we have to change it, the parent table actions you want to override the dictionary entries for the child table, we can use a dictionary override. For example, on the incident form we have assignment group field was there, we want to show that field mandatory on the incident form. If you change in the dictionary entry, it will affect all the tables, all the forms wherever that field were visible. So but to avoid this, what we will do is we will do the wherever the field was visible, so we can go to the dictionary entry and we can open the table called incident. In that incident, we can make a field mandatory read only and mandatory read only, override reference qualifier and override default value and dictionary the table attributes and the display. We don't use it, but we can learn it. But this is the main thing we can do it. This is the 99% the interview common asked inter question about the dictionary override maximum they will ask. 99% they will ask it. I hope you clear right till now what you discussed or any confusion. So this is the topic for today. I'm just going to just please note on that task for today. Please note on the task for today. The task is just check what are the fields were using an incident and problem table, and in those field one field should be mandatory by using the dictionary override, and another field has the and the one field should be mandatory in the incident form, and in the problem form it should be optional. And if it is a reference field, the reference qualifier of those two will be different. On the incident it should display the what are the active true, and the problem should display what are the type is ITL. And one is a read only and another one is a optional, sorry, mandatory, sorry, read only true, and one is a read only false for this one. So if you do these three, you will very good in the what you call this dictionary override concept, so that you can easily grasp it. Anyone has any questions for the today's task? Go on, you have any doubts? Okay, any queries for the previous